So, YouTube, what's up? I'm making this video because it's my first ever video and I'm generally just sick and tired of seeing this Hogwarts legacy boycott. I stream a little bit. I've had people come into my stream and give me shit. I've had people I know giving shit too. And I'm basically annoyed, and I feel like it's about time we pointed out the hypocrisy of this hate mob, hypocrisy of games journalism. You know, things like Wired, things like Polygon, you know, disclaimers being put in there by IGN. And I just think it's absolutely hypocritical. And on top of that, Digital Foundry still haven't covered the game for some reason at all. They haven't covered it, they haven't touched it. And for me, it's a fucking joke. It's an absolute piss take. I just don't understand how people can rightly so think they're entitled to bully other people for playing a video game, send them say it's okay to send death threats, you know, some media journalists even agreeing and saying that J.K. Rowling and Hogwarts Legacy is actively damaging the trans community. Doesn't make any sense, and I don't agree with it at all. So I've come on here basically just rant and tell you how much I don't agree. So here's the first one. This is what we're going to do. We're going to break it down, right? What did J.K. Rowling actually say that is so transphobic? So that's what we're going to break down first to get to the root of the issue here with not just this, but in general, 2023 hate mobs that come after everyone, cancel culture. It's all bullshit, to be honest. Some of them are good causes, but a lot of the good causes are lost in the wilderness. By the way, most of the people on these hate mobs attack people and go after people, so that in my opinion the cause loses a bit of purity. So anyway, here we go, right? So if sex isn't real, this is the first one she put, right? And I've already done that. If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know I love trans people. Love trans people. I wish it would stop doing that. Love trans people. But erasing the concept of sex removes the ability for many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate speak to speak the truth. So there's not much trans hate going on there. You got to remember, J.K. Rowling is probably 50-year-old, in the 50s now. You know, and about 10-15 years ago, it was a widely accepted concept. Well, not even, it's science that a man is XXY and a female is XX. Do you know what I mean? Or sorry, vice versa. You know, different chromosomes is my point. But not anymore. Apparently, you can't be biologically a female or a male. So, she then carried on. The idea that a woman like me, who's been empathetic to trans people for decades, feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, i.e. to male violence, hate trans people because they think sex is real and has lived consequences, is a nonsense. So is that really trans? She's basically just saying that her life has been shaped by being a female. So is that really that transphobic? Then we go down, because obviously people were given a grief. I respect every trans person's right to live anywhere that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, my life is being shaped by being female, and I do not think it's hateful to say so. I agree. You're not allowed to be manly anymore, you're not allowed to be feminine. Like, because you're being feminine or manly doesn't take away from someone being trans or whatever they want to be. That doesn't take away from that. There's nothing wrong with being a manly man or a feminine woman. There's nothing wrong with being a feminine man or a manly woman. There's nothing wrong with any of them. That's the issue I have. There's no right or wrong here. In this particular, I'm not saying she isn't saying things that might have slight issues when it comes to the transphobic movement, the anti-transphobic movement, but I'm saying that in general, it should be fine to be whatever you want to be. That's what these people are preaching. And then she shared a post by a girl who was a lesbian, I'm guessing. I've never felt as shouted down, ignored, and tagged as a lesbian within, I suppose, GLBT community. You can't just be a lesbian anymore. You have to be a unique snowflake that floats effortlessly across the world. Right, I need some of the fan backlash. Transphobic dog whistles. Please, for the love of God, leave us alone. Leave us alone. Is she actively attacking trans people? She's simply stating her view that men can be men, women can be women, you know, in a scientific standpoint. That's all she's saying. I'm not saying she's correct in that way of thinking, but is it really that hateful to have them views? You know, is it really that bad to try and boycott a game that has nothing to do with her other than the fact that she will get royalty checks? So we go down further, and there's more. Harry Potter is about the magic of love, acceptance, belonging, the power of courage, the impact of hope. Trying to take those things away, people, is to tell me trans women are women. Do not read J.K. Rowling's transphobia manifesto. Don't know about a manifesto she made, where she basically states that, in her opinion, you know, with the biologically chromosomes, etc., men are men, women are women, right? I'm not saying I agree with this, but is it really that bad to have that view? I think there's much worse things out there. I think it's much worse to be a racist, for example. To hate someone based on the colour of their skin, which that is coming from a place of no science. That is coming from a place of no previous. I mean, I guess slavery back hundreds of years ago, but that hasn't been around for centuries, pretty much half century now. So to think that way is a hateful way of thinking, in my opinion. Obviously, celebrities of Panda, Daniel Radcliffe. You know, without J.K. Rowling, Daniel Radcliffe would be probably on the dole somewhere in Essex. Emma Watson, you know, these people might not have made it without J.K. Rowling. In fact, I feel like Emma Watson might have, but I don't think Daniel Radcliffe would have. You know. And then on top of that, another thing that people don't talk about with J.K. Rowling is how generous she is when it comes to charity work, and how many different charities she's gave to over the years. She gave over 160 million to charity. An active English tax as well, which is 40%. She's also helped kids, vulnerable women, you know, things like that. Mainly kids, but people aren't talking about that. You know, maybe she's a bit off with the trans comments, but at the same time, is she really being harmful to the trans community? I don't know if she is, personally. I just think she's a woman who has an opinion. Might not be some opinion a lot of people agree with, but I don't think she's actively hating or discriminating against trans people at all. I just think she has her opinion and that's it. You don't agree, that's fair enough. Don't agree. So what we're going to move on to next is the hypocrisy of the actual boycott itself. It doesn't really make any sense when you dig into it, right? So how many people do you think in this boycott are tweeting from an iPhone? How many people? Look, people have been dying in Apple's sweatshops since we found out, pretty much. Over 10 years. But people have no problem using their iPhones. People have no problem paying money for their iPhones every month or buying them. Or is it only certain protected groups or things that are trending or trendy that we jump on and boycott, or is that what it is? Because all of this is doing, in my personal opinion, there's probably about 20% of this boycott are from actual trans activists. The rest are from people who are just looking for an excuse to be a prick. And this gives them an excuse to just bully people without really any consequences, just to being virtuous. And the other lot, in my opinion, are just bandwagon jumping virtual signalers who just want to have people tell them how good they are for not playing Hogwarts, on stream or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's embarrassing, the hypocrisy of these people. So how many of these do you think have an iPhone? How many people, how many of these use Twitter? Like, it's a joke. Oh no, we can boycott this game and, you know, stand up for trans rights, but no, we can't lose Twitter. I can't give up my social media because how am I supposed to bully people? It's actually embarrassing, to be honest. And then we can just keep going on. How many of these people have played a Blizzard game like Diablo, World of Warcraft, etc.? Because obviously Hogwarts Legacy is in the gaming space, the gaming media. So a lot of those people will be sharing games like between different companies. So then we go to Blizzard. Blizzard, groping, free-flowing booze and fear of retaliation, tainted magical workplace. This is one of the nicer articles about Blizzard. If you really do your investigation, you find out how sexist, racist, you know, how much of a bigot Bobby Kotick is. It's almost shocking that, like, all these game journalists on top of the, you know, the fans themselves, and not reviewing, some of them are not reviewing Hogwarts, or you get Wired who gave Hogwarts a 1 out of 10. But yet they'll preview Diablo 4, and they'll review Diablo 4, and they'll review Diablo 3, no problem. Or they'll talk about the expansions for WoW, no problem. Do you know why? Because it's not on trend. It's not something that's going to get them clicks. It's not something that's going to get them notoriety. Wow, that's the game journalist who didn't review Hogwarts. Even though Hogwarts itself has absolutely nothing to do with J.K. Rowling. If anything, they have a trans character in the game, and you have a picture of J.K. Rowling burning. To just say, look, we agree with you, etc., etc. Yet it's still not enough. It's not enough because these people don't want that. They want to be able to hate, and they want to be able to attack people, and, you know, how dare you? You're cancelled. It's embarrassing, and it's seeping into the world, and it's scary, to be honest. You can't have an opinion, because if you have an opinion and it's contrarian to the, you know, to their agenda or what they want, even if it's not even that bad, even if it's a slight, I suppose, dig or knock or disagreement with their ideology, they'll just come at you with a hate mob. The same thing happened with BLM. A good cause, which I agree with. Racism does exist, and it probably does exist to an extent in Western culture systemically. But the message was lost a little bit when people started looting and rioting and attacking people that had nothing to do with it. But like I said, it gave them people an excuse to just be a prick, be horrible, because they had no real consequences because they were doing it for a good cause. But I just think it's embarrassing. And then you get things like this. The value of boycotting Harry Potter's Hogwarts Legacy. Look, I do not want to get sidetracked with a discussion on whether Rowling is actually transphobic, because it isn't really confirmed. She's not exactly coming out saying, I hate trans people, is it? Is she? And this boycott has failed so much. Like, it's actually just failed dramatically. You know, it was the most played game on Steam when it came out, highest player count for a single player game. But I just find it bizarre. I find it cringe. And I find some of the game journalists that aren't reviewing it or aren't covering it, especially Digital Foundry, for example, which I really like Digital Foundry, and I'm shocked that they're not covering it. We need to stop letting politics interfere with our games. This game isn't trying to make a political statement. It's not involved in politics. It's just a bloody video game where you play as a wizard. Do you know what I mean? Like, why are we letting politics seep into our gaming? We need to stop. We need to stand up and stop it. Because it's just going to get rife. Every game company has some shady stuff. Like the Rockstar, for example, have some pretty bad crunch conditions, like are being reported. But yeah, everyone will play Grand Theft Auto. Everyone will play Red Dead Redemption 2. I wonder when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, I wonder if that still is controversial like it used to be. I wonder how much backlash will happen over that. I'm not sure they're going to be controversial. I reckon they're going to bottle it and tone down satire, tone down the jokes, tone down the stereotypes, because everyone right now is sensitive and it's a victim culture, and it's annoying, to be honest. And I think that is my rant over with, to be honest. That is going to be done, as it's an absolute cringe. But yeah, that's my rant. This is my first ever YouTube video, and I felt compelled to just talk about it. No script, no anything like that, just my opinions that are probably might be controversial, they might not. All I know is I am playing Hogwarts Legacy right now. It's a great game. It's not amazing. It's a great game. It's probably an 8.5 out of 10. Some technical bugs on PC. Some of the character dialogue's a bit iffy. The facial animations are probably 3-4 years old. But overall, they've nailed it. They've nailed what they went out for, right? Great music, great combat, good quests, great world, right? They did what they set out to do. But yeah, I'm currently playing it. I think it's great. I think you should too. And I don't think you should boycott it or boycott any game, as it's absolutely ridiculous. But that's where I stand on it. And this is my first YouTube video, and I'm ranting. I don't really know how to end it, but if something comes up that I want to rant about again, I will make a YouTube video. Or if something comes up that I want to talk about, doesn't always have to be a rant, I will make another YouTube video. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.